This is Rhonda Kitchens. I'm your librarian. I'm discussing today SOC 101, a specific assignment. And I'm going to start out here, making sure you know how to get to the library. I'm at bigbend.edu. I'm going to academics, academic resources, and the library. The library is also under my apps. Sorry about that. That's how I track what's going on the library. Make sure it's a healthy and wonderful, well-used environment. Usually when I do research, frankly, I start with databases A to Z. There's 170 databases. But for this project, because it was so clearly laid out, I wanted to look at it in a different way. And if you were in the class, it was a very working forward class. And I'm going to take you through the process. I'm going to go first to class guides. And under class guides, you're looking for this particular page. I may have it in alphabetical order, which will put it up here, but right now it's at the bottom. Soc 101 S. Reilly. Here, this is a little bit of a mess. This is what I'm working on right now. I wanted to show you how we're going to pair our search strategy with the needs of the assignment. You're going to need 5 academic sources. You need to use the conflict theory lens. I didn't really talk about that in the class, but that's definitely a search term, keyword that you can use in Proquest and your other different places you do your research. Use evidence-based sources. I'm going to show you that. Case studies, I didn't go into it in depth in the classes, but again, that's a keyword. I do talk about defining problems, putting face on the problems, and other things. And I went over this in the class. You can stop and read it here if you'd like to do so. But this is how I broke it down. The goal here is 5 academic level sources, 1 research scholarly article. Academic level sources are things from the databases, magazines, newspaper articles, and things of that nature. Additionally, it does include things from the internet that might have a .org for organization, .gov for government, or .edu for education ending, as opposed to the .com, which is usually a commercial designation. Now, this research is very specific. You will need to find the background and the definition of a topic. I'm going to clean this bit a little bit up for you, but Opposing Viewpoints, which is a database I don't have linked over here, often has a great section on the background of general social problems. I call it the Wikipedia that you can actually use because it is peer-reviewed, edited, and kept updated. Also, I'm going to talk about some of the types of literature that we can use, because newspaper articles, magazine articles, scholarly articles. Scholarly articles, they're actually a variety of different types. And it's always good to ask your professors which type they want, because there's literature reviews, there's meta-analysis, there's research that's specifically a research article, there are case studies, which you're allowed to use for this, and it was mentioned. And I love literature reviews because they're somebody who does research on a certain topic, and they bring together the literature they've read, and they order it or talk to it or compare it, which is an excellent place to define and understand the background of different topics. I also love a systematic review. Now, in the world of medicine, nursing, and evidence-based research, the systematic review is at the very tippy top of the evidence pyramid. And the reason for that is the systematic review is one review of many different types of research, and it compares and measures and provides conclusions about that process, and it takes you through it in great detail. It even gives you keywords of what they use and also the databases as well. It's really, from a librarian standpoint, just a joy to read. However, as a student, you should enjoy reading it, and I would start off with the conclusion first and read it backwards, is often these are the types of pieces that are used to make policy suggestions, best practices, and other things that are really important in our society. They're excellent pieces, and I'm going to show you how to find those. So I'm going to definitely go into Proquest, and I'll show you how to do that. And also, who is affected by the issue? And I have to say, I laughed at this because I just typed in something on Google. Who is affected by? And this is actually not bad. It's going to take you to some .coms, but it's going to find you some .govs too. But you know how to fix this? So who is affected by homelessness? Add site.gov or add site.org, and that'll clean this up into an actually highly functional use of Google in its better aspect. Okay, so I'm going to go up here. I found some keywords here. I'm going to clean that up and put it underneath the video. So let's go back up here and see what else. It was affected. I also wanted to make sure you understood what Pew Research Center was, and I put it over here, and I'll go over that. I talk again, especially when we talk about who is affected, .gov.orgs, because that definitely, or those types of organizations cover those topics. I talk about here, I'm laughing about the who is affected, and let's go down here. Use conflict theory. I didn't actually do this in class, but these are keywords, conflict lens, and some of the allied thoughts I found, and you may or may not want to look at these ideas as well. Integrated threat theory, intergroup anxiety, social contracts. All right, and another thing you're called to do is put a face on the problem. Case studies is one of the things that's mentioned in your assignment. If you put quotation marks around case studies, it searches as a phrase. Put it with your piece. Use something like Proquest. It's going to come up with some really good work for you. Good search results. You can also define these personal things. Use a word like interviews. Interviewing. I'll show you how to set that up using truncation, which will just make your search strategy extra sweet. And let's see, qualitative studies. I want to mention that if you're working with the scholarly journals, trying to find interviews that are in them, qualitative methodology includes interviews, focus groups, observations, questionnaires, very much interactions with real human people. So sometimes if you just use the word qualitative or qualitative method in something like a Proquest search, you're going to find things in scholarly articles about that. Usually a good scholarly article will give you the questionnaire, give you some answers, and kind of give you some interactions with the real people and their thoughts on various topics. From there, I also wanted to make sure you saw Social Work Reference Center. Now, as we discovered in the second class today, if you're working on air pollution, this will have absolutely zero value to you. If you're working on homelessness, mental health issues, anxiety, some other social issues, it's going to be really wonderful. It's going to light it up. It's going to give you all sorts of amazing information for you to use in this project. It will light it up. It's professional, and this is a professional grade database. And of course, I'll refer you back to Pew Research Center. A lot of the things I have listed over here have a great deal of work for you. I'm probably going to take this out because Proquest Research Library does have newspapers, and while you're there, use those. Call for action. I'm thinking using a systematic review search like we will do in Proquest. Looking at .gov and .orgs will help. If you take a search in Google think tank, put in your subject, add a .org, you're going to find some people that may already be working on this project. They may have ideas how to solve it. Now, are these humane or sound ideas? That could be something you could question, because part of the process is finding, of course, information that will also oppose what you're thinking. So I admit right now, this is a little raggedy looking. I'll fix it up. I'll do the video, and I'll make sure that Professor Reilly knows that this has been completed. I'm also going to list some chapters. So here I am at 10 minutes, and I've talked a lot about search strategy. So let's get right into the search. I'm going into Proquest Research Library. A lot of you, actually, I believe in the second class, someone put their hands up and said they were done. They were done with their research. I thought it was awesome. That's what I like to hear. So here, I'm going to be using homeless for my topic. It's kind of in between everything, and it'll show off some of the processes. Here, I'm going to go for a systematic review. Now, why would I choose a scholarly article type called a systematic review? Remember, in medicine and evidence-based processes, this is the pinnacle of evidence, and it's not just one piece of research, academic research. It's an academic study of a stack of different types of research. And at the bottom, in the conclusions, and as part of the process, they are usually trying to find an answer to a thing, like how to do a certain thing in the best way possible. So the conclusions and other discussions around your topic inside of this type of piece is very strong. When using Proquest, go for full text, unless click search. Now, homeless is really a very big piece, and I may change it as we go through. I may add issues of addiction. Maybe I'll pick teens or teenagers and adolescents, maybe a person like single mothers. It's a huge, huge issue, and I'm using homeless not because that's the way to go, but because I just want to be able to show you these different searches. Now, this is a place you can keep building, and I could build in teenagers, but this is how I would do it. See, I have systematic review in quotes. That makes sure it searches as a phrase. I can also go and teens. Now, it could be teens, or teenagers. This little business, see how I just put this asterisk there? Now that searches teens, teenagers. See, this presentation here is about the search strategy and how to get the most out of something while you're there. So, homeless and systematic review. We have these search results. I have 11,796, which I do not need. If you want to additionally because you are going to need to have one scholarly article, select peer reviewed. You'll make sure these are specifically that, but on the most part, a systematic review is going to be in a scholarly journal. It's going to be a very long document. If you have any doubts, you can change source types here. When I'm working with Proquest, I like to get rid of the wire feeds. They're repetitive. There's no reason to have them. If I want to find other sources, blogs, or other things that may show up here, I'll get rid of them. Maybe I don't want newspapers, or I could only look at newspapers and only look at magazines. So making those sort of decisions thins down the herd as it is. So this, I'm going to look at here, experiences of homeless families in parenthood. It's going to be a synthesis of qualitative evidence. If you were paying attention when I was talking about the search strategy, you would have kind of perked up at that title, because what this gives us, because use your search to keep your search going, experiences could be another word that helps us tease out the idea of putting a face on our social issue and understanding who's affected and who they are. It could also be a great keyword. Homeless families in parenthood, a systematic review, and a synthesis of qualitative evidence. Qualitative. This means these are interviews, observations, and other things. When you look at the methodology of the systematic review, it'll tell you which type of thing it used. But if we're looking for faces on and things that might have more focus on feelings, emotion, and actions and motivations, this could be a very rich piece. In fact, qualitative, it would be a great keyword to use, as well as experiences. So when you're here, you're going to be able to look at the PDF in full text. The PDF has the advantage, in many cases, of having the actual images that are there in the article, which full text may not have. This piece is going to talk about where it may be cited. Over here, you'll have suggested sources. If you like this article, you may also like these. It also has here subjects. When you're working on something, absolutely come down and harvest other keywords and subjects and ideas. This will download the PDF. This you can email. Here you can print. And here is a citation. You're using APA. I can't really go over APA in this particular presentation, but absolutely I'll talk to you about it. So the rule here is to copy and correct. I'm not going to go through the pieces, but looking at it immediately, the capitalization of the title's not correct. And that's not too bad after that. So you can always ask me to look at it or talk to you about it. No problem. And also the Writing Center has an APA handout, and you can also talk to the Writing Center about APA citation. So I'm going to go out of this, and I'm going to go back into the search. So this search was to find some of the things I talked about. Systematic review, or looking for something that might have an idea, a call for action, may state some best practices. Further, it's going to examine the history and define some terms in that topic. So it's going to be very, very rich. It may be very, very long, but it's an excellent piece of literature to do research with. Now, let's go and look at things in a different way. Remember, we're talking about interviews. We can actually search for interviews using the keyword, but this is how you make it better. Let's truncate it because it could be interview, interviews, interviewed, and interviewing. If we put an asterisk here, we get all of those in one search. So let's go and see what we have here. All right, homeless on the homeless. We ask homeless men and women, what should Atlanta do about the homeless? Well, that's going to be put a face on this particular issue. Probably not this one. Asthma symptoms, no. Oh, this is going into certain areas and talking to homeless individuals in LA. This talks about experiences. Again, experiences may be an excellent keyword when you're searching for putting a face on and understanding some of the street level real life issues in with your problem. This is the homeless talking about how they've been moved out of an encampment place. So all of these, not all of them, but quite a few of these are going to have interviews that will put a face on the experience. So in your work, you would put your topic, use the major words. Don't use in, and, or these. You don't need any of that. And try to focus on different versions of the word. Immigrant, immigration, immigrants. Those immigration and immigrants are going to be two different ideas. One is like a process, and one is a person. So use those terms different ways when you're doing a research. So this is excellent. And here, the Proquest, I'm not going into the whole thing. You can do more than just look for scholarly articles. You can also look for newspaper and other sources over here, and you can just select the one you want to look at. Magazine articles are a great place to find definitions, interviews, and other things about topics. So you can also search magazines and trade journals in this area as well. A very rich, wonderful database, and I hope you love it. When you go to get your doctorate, because I know you will, you'll be using this one. Okay, we're back at the guide. We're going into family studies abstracts. Suppose your social issue has something to do with family specifically. This will be a rich area to go. I'm going to use my basic term, and I'm just going to go in big, not putting it anything else on it, just to show you what's inside of this. I've seen my friend get chopped. Well, there's some interviews and experiences right there. Let's see if any of these keywords might be useful. Yeah, see this? It came up. If you put interviews in, this particular article could come up and you would get a very sad story, it looks like. Make sure you select linked to full text. If you're using this to find scholarly articles, you can do so. But this is going to be a little bit academic journal heavy anyway because of the topic, family studies. So here you'll be able to go in, click on this if this is the particular piece you want. You can take keywords from this to improve your work if you need to do so. This is talking about homeless shelters and self-efficacy, self-esteem. This might be part of a call to action issue. So sometimes your keywords can help you narrow your topic down, refocus, kind of consider what you might be using for that call to action. So if you were to use it, the full text is over here, PDF. You can save, you can cite it. If you go to the citation, you're going to be using APA 7th edition. You would copy and correct this. And much like the other one is the capitalization in the title, nothing is capitalized in APA except the first word, a word that follows a colon, a proper noun or noun phrase. If that just made you feel very sad and dissatisfied about APA, you're absolutely invited to come talk to me and I'll go over it with you. Again, like I said, there's a handout at the Writing Center. Both of us will be glad to help you out with APA. Just know that these are copy and correct, not copy and paste. So this is how you could use this. Now, I did not share this in the live pieces, but let me tell you another thing I love about EBSCO. So we went in here, and this is a small piece of a database in here, but all the EBSCO databases, instead of going to them individually, you can come here and search all of them at once. Every single one of them. Just make sure you select for full text. It may be a lot. Now, Another thing you could do is build your own database. Suppose you were working only on business. You could select the business databases or just focus on the medical or health or legal and criminal or just the education databases. And that way build your own database to run your search up against. So let's go to the next piece. Now this is a professional level piece. It's about social work. Now if you're working on artificial intelligence and air pollution, this will not be for you. If you're working on anxiety, depression, mental health issues, homelessness, and family violence and things of that nature, this will have some help. I'm going to put in my very big search just to show you what kind of information you can find. In this case, it came up with quick lessons. This also has things where you can educate other people, and it's pretty rich in information. Let's look at veterans. Let's bring this up. So I want you to see it has descriptions, facts, figures, risk factors, signs, symptoms, clinical presentation, social work assessment. Oh yeah, those could help you with calls to actions, social work treatment summaries, laws, available services, food for thought, red flags, discharge planning, DSM-5 codes, should you like to see those references, which is other things to do. So if you're able to fit in your piece, this is going to cover a lot of your piece where you need to define and talk about the people affected, and it covers a lot of your information needs for your project. But if you're doing air pollution and artificial intelligence or something like that, Proquest is still going to be good. Academic Search Complete, and even opposing viewpoints. I'm going to take Newsbank out because you can find newspapers here. And I'm going to talk about Google Advanced Search. I already kind of showed you that part where I was laughing about cite::.org. That's just kind of the secret code that you can generate using Google Advanced. I had to take a link to go here because there's not a Google Advanced link on Google search. You actually have to search it. So I just went ahead and put a link to it. It just makes it a lot easier. Different times it's been around or inside the toolbox around Google, but now it's sort of hidden right now. So what it does essentially is give you the training wheels to learn how to do a search strategy. Type in the important words, not the prepositions or articles or anything like that. Put in exact words and quotes. So doing phrase searching, like we said, put them in quotations. But it does have some different things. It does have, it does sort of talk about Boolean searching. Here it lets you know to use or. Capitalized OR is to be a synonym. This is specific to Google. And if you were using it in Proquest or the other databases, it would be capitalized not NOT, and then the word following would be taken out of your search results. But here in Google, you put a negative in front of a word to get rid of it. I love it. I hate Pinterest. So when I do a Google search, it's always what I'm searching, negative Pinterest. This is a very handy thing you might find. But for this particular thing, we're not going to try to find .coms. We're going to be searching specifically for a higher level of evidence that we might find in .orgs, .govs, and .edu. That is organizations, governments, and education. So I'm going to start with my very vague search, which could be narrowed down in several ways that I think I've discussed. And I'm going to this, which is site or domain. Now, you'll see here I have facebook.com or twitter.com. This searches inside of a domain. In fact, if you put bigben.edu here, it would search better than the search on bigben.edu, just to let you know. There's a secret sauce in the Google search, so it has a lot of value. But here I'm going to go big, and I'm just going to go .org for an organization. The reason we want to do this, 73% of the people don't get past the first page at Google, which means an amazing amount of people are using the same resources for similar topics and not really going much further. This helps you break out of that bubble away into some different things that are not going to show up on the first page. Now, oftentimes there's nothing here, but this seems to change from time to time. If you notice, Google is never quite the same, but you're not going to see a lot of sponsored ads. It starts with Wikipedia, which is a .org, but then it goes into National Homelessness, homeless assistance programs, care for the homeless, facts about homelessness, and the big value here, let me kind of, oops, I didn't mean to go there. The big value here is it is in a .org. Now, what that means, if we go here, we'll just go into it a little bit, you'll see policy, advocacy, implementation, learning hub, support. So it's a great richness. It's according to which thing it is, consumer engagement. But you'll go down, you'll see the about, the information. It's just stuff that you're not going to find in your basic Google search. So by enhancing it, going to the .org, you're going to find different sites that may help you out with a lot of major things. If you're working on this, if you saw, there's going to be call to action issues. It's going to put the face on different things, and it's going to cover a lot of the pieces that you need. So finding a great .org can really light up your research. Sometimes they may not actually be helpful for your topic, or maybe antithetical or not where you're headed, but that's also a great piece of information for your project. So I think that search makes sense to you. If it doesn't, let me know. But when you become comfortable and skilled, you'll be able to build it yourself. So if I'm doing homeless, it already came up, homeless research, I know that I'm doing a site search, site:.org, or if I'm doing something, and probably it's not good for this piece, but to let you know it's possible, if I was trying to find out what people were saying about a topic, a thing, or a person on Twitter, I would do it like that, site:twitter.com. And even if I didn't have a Twitter account, I would come up with different people and places writing about homelessness on Twitter. So when you need this, you'll remember this, and it's something quite interesting. And if you ever need more details, reach out and ask me. Okay, we have 3 more to go. I'm not going to go in wild depth, but I want you to know about Google Scholar. Now, when you use the Google Scholar from the library page, I have it anchored to our institution code, so I actually make it relevant. You may think it's a place where you find nothing or hit the paywall, but if it's set up like I do, I have it set up with the institution code of the library. So your research is going to look a lot more like this. I'm going to put in homeless, very big, should be more specific. But if you see over here on the right-hand side, if you go here, you might hit a paywall. It may ask you for money. You may have a login, require a login. Over here, let's take a look at it. It's going to go through 85% of the time. And this case was not one of them, because we have to, that's not going to help us out. So I'm going to go back, try this one. See, it's in these. I'm going to pick Research Library. It's one of our bigger databases, so it should resolve. Now, the reason you might want to do this is that this is it connects scholarly activity and citations and who uses what article to write their article, and I'll show you some citation searching in a minute. And instead of going to the individual databases or having to know a lot about them, this sits on top of our larger databases, and in one search for scholarly articles, this will find them instead of you going 5 different places. It saves you time, it's elegant, it's lovely, and see, I'm going to go do this again. Sorry. I have so many tabs open. Yes, I'm that person. So we see here, I don't think it's the right Google Scholar. Anyway, but when you see an article, you can see who cited it. So this was in 2001. We see it's been cited 1,000 times. So that gives us some idea about it being well used. If you click on that, you'll go to the pages that cites it, and as you'll see over here, there's more Big Ben full text. Some of these also, this search helps show some of the other places it may be available to you full text. If you can't find something immediately, sometimes if you look at all 10 versions, you'll find it. That's another kind of fun thing you can do. And you can select it so it's the past year, 5 years, or a custom range. so you can make sure that it's up to date. When you forget something that you need to cite, I find this helpful, especially when I'm helping someone with a citation or name spelling. This is not correct, but it usually has the right elements in it, like a beginning and ending page number, a publication date, and things of that nature. Like any citation you see, it's copy and correct. And that is what Google Scholar looks like when you use it off the library's A to Z list. I'm going to show you now Pew Research Center topics. I picked the link that goes to the list of items. I don't want you to think that's the only way to do this, but it has something here. It's happiness and life satisfaction. This is actually not good for my topic, homelessness. It would be good probably for artificial intelligence and what was the other one we're having trouble with? Air pollution. This has all types of information and research topics. They go out and ask questions. There's tools and resources. They talk about their method. There's a lot of clarity. It's a really interesting site. You can search it here or, of course, through the topics. Let's go ahead. This is kind of look at one of these reports, how Americans view their jobs. It talks about how they did it, the terminology, so it's going to give you some definitions. It has beautiful graphics, and when it starts talking about terms that we may not be familiar with, it's kind enough to link them, and it also shows other related stories and things of that nature. It's a very rich experience to find a report that has something to do with what you're saying. In fact, I have a meeting probably later today talking to someone in the BA program about determining what social media certain age groups use, and this is one of the best ways to find that information out. And finally, I'm going to end it with this. I have in the databases A to Z over 170 pieces. It's actually broken up by subjects as well, and this is sociology. There's 27 pieces here that may be of interest. We talked about family studies. Social sciences in the research library is good, but you could just search the entire Proquest research library. I showed you the social work piece, which was professional and had a very different approach to information, very clear, and it's well outlined so you can find what you need to find. Academic Search Premier is like Proquest, it's smaller. It'd be kind of like having Netflix and Amazon Prime, like they have different ways to approach them. They're different publishers. They might overlap a little, but not entirely. So there's a great deal of value in using them both when you're doing research. Academic videos online, they actually are videos and they have transcripts, and you can search the transcript. So if you're citing information from them, it's very easy and clear on how to do it. What else maybe? I have diversity studies, gender studies, things of this nature. We also have ebooks. I didn't talk about these, but the ebook academic collection is available to you 24/7. We have a variety of up-to-date books, unlike some of our print books, and you can search them at very minute levels, including text. All the text. So those are beautiful 24/7, and they're device agnostic. You can look at them on a desktop and on your phone. You don't need any special devices. JSTOR is one of those ancient and wonderful databases, well loved, usually in academia. You can often find histories and wonderful scholarly articles on sociology and the topics you may have in this. If you're working on things like medicine or health, steer away. It's not going to be quite that up to date. We don't have the full version. This is a free version, but it will give you a taste. If you log in and create an account, you'll have more access to things than just using it in this way. Opposing viewpoints, I didn't cover it in the live classes because it's pretty easy to use, and it will give you the background of things and some different issues around it, but not with the beauty, the clarity, and the different ways you can search it like you can in the ways I showed you, like Proquest. Points of view is much like this. It's differently set up, but it also could have some help for you. Proquest we went over. If you're working on something and the mental health, anxiety, and other types of issues, and Proquest and whatnot did not help you, this is specifically composed of psychology and behavioral type journals, and you may have a greater deal of success pinpointing something using this. Psychology is a little bit more slight, but available to you. This is a PTSD publication that may cover some of your topics. Also, religion and philosophy. Should your pieces touch on those issues, this is a very sound database. And finally, Soc Index. Just make sure you use link to full text, and you can research a variety of different sociology journals. Anyway, I hope this helps. I want you to know you can always ask a librarian. You can come find me. I'm here quite a bit. Also, the Writing Center is here to help you. I'm going to go to the main page. I want to make sure you know where these things are. This is the Writing Center. Now, the Writing Center does have a Zoom thing, so you can come in here and use these hours. This is the Zoom hours. This is the in-person hours. So this is how you get into the Zoom room. This is the APA handout that you might want. Now, I use this. This is the libraries section, citation and plagiarism. Let's take a look at that. This is the plagiarism part up top, but I teach Lib 101 academic research, and it's a 2-credit hour course if you'd like to take it. And I use APA specifically, and instead of having people buy the book, I have them use the blog. And it has here all types of reference examples, how to cite journal articles, YouTube, podcasts, and the whole deal. It's really, really a great resource. It's free. Again, bookmark the library website and bookmark this, because this is really helpful. It tells you how to set them up. It gives you a model. It explains underneath how, and it even shows you how to set up your citations. So, I hope this was helpful. Oh, and I didn't go in great depth. Let me go over that part, and I apologize. I did not go into great detail, though I did show you how to find a scholarly article. I didn't go into deep detail here on the library's page. Next week, I usually do once a quarter a webinar on scholarly articles, and also here is a 30-minute presentation on scholarly articles. It talks about the different types, but here I really go hard on the research article and showing the different parts and what they mean. So that's available to you for supplemental information if you need it, but you can always come talk to me in person. I hope this helped. It was great being able to work with you today in your classes, and if you have any questions, I think you know where I'm at. Have a great day.